Today I'm joined by Major Craig Hallett, a director of music from the Corps of Art Music and a former director of the Band of the Household Cavalry. He's currently working at Kneller Hall at the Royal Military School of Music as the chief instructor, helping to craft, shape and develop the musicians of the future. Good morning, Craig.
Good morning, Stuart.
Craig, can you give me a bit of insight as to what influenced you in your decision to join Army Music?
I started music about age 7 in the brass bands of Yorkshire. And for me it was a rite of passage. Many of my family had been involved with the brass bands of Yorkshire at the time, and in 1984 I was offered the chance to go and join Grimethorpe Colliery Band, but it was also the same year that I saw the trooping of the colour for the first time. I saw the Household Cavalry, and having been a tenor horn player I thought that was a job for me, and I ended up in the Queen's Own Hussars after 2 years training.
In addition to your many duties as a director of music and an officer in the British Army, you're also an accomplished composer. Is this something that you've always been interested in, or was the spark first ignited when you attended the Bandmaster's course?
It's always been a passion, and for me it's the creation of something that evokes emotion from people and seeing how people react to the music, and for me that's the greatest reward, and I really enjoy that. So it's really, as an artist would in a painting, it's about creating something that people look at or listen to, in my case, and enjoy it and say, yeah, that's nice. That it evokes certain feelings from people.
So at the very beginning of the creative process, where did you get your inspiration for your compositions?
So for me, it's subliminal. It kind of just, and it's really easy for me to say it pops into your head, but it does. And the greatest thing, one of the greatest things about technology that's developed over the years is the microphone on your phone. So everything I hear in my head, it's not voices, luckily, it's just the music. I whistle or sing into my phone, which sounds odd and strange, but it actually goes back to the days of Beethoven. And I'm not for one moment comparing myself with Beethoven, but he had a manuscript by the side of his bed, and he would wake up in the middle of the night and literally write things down in sketch form. So, as I say, I don't compare myself with that sort of level of ability, but I certainly enjoy a tune popping into the head and then whistling into the phone and then picking up later. But from a structural and a harmonic perspective, a lot of my music is based around sort of film music, the Hollywood harmonies and things like that, because I think that's what creates the emotion in people. That's what grabs people, and that's where ostensibly that music comes from, that evokes those feelings and emotions by watching a film. So I feel that if you can create that sort of atmosphere musically, then it allows people to buy into the music as well.
You composed Majesty in 2016. Exactly what occasion was this composed for, and how did this affect your composition style?
So it was composed for Her Majesty's 90th birthday. And we performed in Home Park at Windsor Castle for that, the Windsor Horse Show that year. I wanted a piece of music that grabbed people's attention. It's not so much about the emotion this time, it's more about grabbing attention. So it needed to be fanfaric in style, it needed to be short and sharp and make people's ears prick up and go, let me listen to that music. So I think we got that effect from the piece of music.
Are there any special considerations that you need to think of when composing music for a mounted band?
Yes, very much so. First of all, the melody. The melody has to really sit on the brass instruments, in particular the cornets, because if you lose the melody in woodwind, it's quite a sort of quiet sound that you get from the woodwind. In particular on horseback, there's a lot of noise going on, peripheral noise with horses' equipment and so on. And of course, as you know, horses do tend to play up now and again. So if you lose 1 or 2 cornet players out of 8 or 9, that's fine. If the melody's sat on somewhere else, different instruments, the ripple effect through the band when the horses start playing up can take an effect where you end up losing quite a bit of tune and melody, and sometimes, as you may remember, it may just be the drums playing.
Exactly how does it feel to hear a piece of music which started off initially as a tune that popped into your head and that you whistled into your phone to be played by a military band at a ceremonial event?
Well, for me, it's a holistic experience. But for a composer to hear a wonderful band such as the mass bands of the Household Division playing my music, it's one of the pinnacles of my career.
Craig, you've had a long and quite illustrious career. Could I ask you please to share with us just a couple of the highlights?
It all started with the Trooping in the Colour, seeing it on TV in 1984. So going out as the director of music of the Band of the Household Cavalry and taking part in the Trooping in the Colour, the Queen's Birthday Parade as it's known in the Household Cavalry, for me was a dream complete. As a director of music, conducting the fanfare team as part of the royal wedding of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex was a particular high point. Compositionally, it was a real privilege to write the arrival fanfare for the President of the United States when he visited the country in 2017. And from the civilian perspective, I've enjoyed composing music for several charities. One of those, Elegy to the Warhorse, reached number 12 in the classical charts. And finally, Classic FM Live 2018 at the Albert Hall. And a piece of my music was played on stage by the London Symphony Orchestra, the Band of the Household Cavalry, the Royal Marines, the Royal Air Force, and a choir from across London. And it featured live on Classic FM broadcast. So perhaps musically that has been the pinnacle of my career.
Wow, very impressive. Craig, thank you for joining us today. It's been wonderful to get just the briefest of insights into the career of one of our directors of music, and also to find out the inspiration for one of our most prolific composers.
Thank you, Stuart.